Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm your host, film school dropout Robert Jarosinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarosinski, and of course, our very own critic in residence, Tim Brayton. Just in time for Easter, we're discussing our top 5 religious movies, as Carrie pointed out right before the start of the show. Religious. But before we get into our religious movies, I have a hair issue right now, Carrie, and it's because of you. I didn't have the proper product.
What do you mean?
I ran out of Tim. I ran out of my hair product. I don't know what to call it. Putty, I guess.
Well, product is what they call it.
Product.
Your hair looks really floofy right now.
You were off to go get groceries, and what did you come back with?
Oh my gosh, you're bringing this up.
Yeah. What did you come back with?
So I came back with all-purpose hair pomade. All-purpose.
Yeah,
all type.
It was an orange-looking puck, and it did have the appearance as being potential hair product. And then right there on the cover, were 2 African Americans.
Yeah.
And I didn't let that. I didn't pass a lot of judgment.
Yeah,
I opened up the product, but then I touched the product, and clearly not meant for my type of hair. I have the most.
You have Polish hair.
Caucasian-looking hair.
You have enormously Caucasian hair.
Yeah.
You actually right now do in fact look like a member of an 80s boy band.
There you go.
I can't disagree with Tim on that.
So you still contend that this was meant for my hair?
Yeah. It's for everybody.
Well, are you wearing this product right now?
No, I'm not. I'm productless because I could not even wash the product out of my hand. Like, it is not meant for
just
for my
because there were 2 people with fros on the front doesn't mean it was just for people of a different race than you.
So I did a little research.
Okay, you did.
I did a little research.
Yeah, of course you did.
Went back. Looked this product up.
It said for everybody.
No, in fact, it said multicultural hair product. So I don't know how you found
culture
this.
you're
multicultural doesn't apply for
I guess I do. I guess I do fit into the
You're in a
multicultural
culture.
demographic.
Even though you were a white guy in Wisconsin, you do technically have a culture.
You have a culture.
It is the world's worst culture, but you have it.
I can't disagree there either.
This is the whole reason why we don't do live video anymore. This is it because the hair would be a mess.
Rob currently looks like he was thrown out a flock of seagulls, and he is still by far the best looking person in this room right now. So.
I can't disagree again. We're just on the same
Never
page.
sending you shopping ever again.
Whatever.
So how about you guys want to jump into worth mentioning?
Totally.
All right, let's do it. What is the worth mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last episode? Which are the ones we want to talk about most? They could be great movies. They could be terrible. We share them anyway. How many movies, Carrie, how many movies have you seen since the last
4
episode? Nicely done.
in a week.
Are you including the one we just saw over dinner? Does that count?
A movie. No, 5. I saw 5.
We are both at 5. Tim, how about you, my friend?
This is so humiliating. Like, I'm excited because it's the best movie week I've had in a couple weeks, and I saw 3.
All right.
And, I'm used to a crap movie week for me. Used to be like, oh God, I only saw 8 movies this week. And now it's like, holy shit, I have seen enough movies that I can talk about one. But this is it's a very bad time.
Carrie and I are okay, picking up your, I know you're
with Ice Age 2.
With Ice Age,
we picked you up.
Meltdown.
That is not my least favorite Ice Age, for the record.
Interesting.
Pretty bad. Who wants to go first?
Well, it sounds like you've already volunteered that Ice Age is your worth mentioning.
It is not going to be the one that we want to talk about at all.
You go, Tim.
All right. Well, I saw a few films at Madison's very own Wisconsin Film Festival over the weekend. If you are in the Madison area, you should definitely be sure to check it out next year when it rolls around. And if you're not, it's not worth a trip to Madison. But if you happen to be in Madison in early April, you should see some stuff. So I saw a revival of a 1950s Italian movie called The Gold of Naples, which is a comedy by Vittorio De Sica. And if you know Vittorio De Sica, you know that the phrase a comedy by Vittorio De Sica is already kind of bizarre because he's famous for these really punishingly austere movies about economic privation in post-war Italy. And this is like this really hilarious anthology film sex farce hybrid. So it's 6 short stories about those wacky Neapolitans and their shenanigans, mostly to do with who wants to bone who. And it was, except for the one that's sad and about the death of a child, because it is Italian. But it's really delightful, beautifully made, wonderfully acted. Sophia Loren has a really terrific part in one of the segments, and just all around great film. One of the best Italian films I've seen in quite a long time, and just gorgeous and funny, which never happens. So.
Would you be able to catch it anywhere though? Here?
I think it
Not
is
in the film
potentially findable on home video, although this was a recent-ish restoration, so it probably won't look very good. But hopefully in the future, this will be prefatory to it getting some kind of push on home video.
Very nice. Bringing in a little Wisconsin flavor to the mix, and Italian both. Kara, what about you? What do you, out of the 5 that you saw, which one do you want to talk about most?
Well, considering we saw the movie Tickled and Wiener, I'm gonna go with A Man Called Ove.
Nice. I think out of the ones,
Tickled and Wiener, I had to go
I gotta
with.
just say, Tickled Wiener is definitely a pretty exciting double feature.
Back to back.
That was, oh gosh. So anyway, I saw. Is it Uwe?
I think it's Uwe.
Uwe. Okay, so apologies in advance for anybody that's Swedish.
Apologies to
that's
all
listening.
the Swedes. We butchered your name.
I think it's right. So I had read the book before for my lady book club, my lady wine club, and it's one that I actually finished and really loved the book. So I didn't know how this was going to stand up. It's directed and written by, again, sorry, Swedes. It's like Hannes Holm. Hannes Holm.
Hannes Holm. I think it's Hannes.
Thanks. Hannes Holm. It stars Rolf Lassgard as Uwe, Bahar Pars.
Maybe you should just
we'll just get
quietly
It
elide the
They were all very Swedish. All of the people that were in the movie were very Swedish. There was a Peruvian woman, I think, too. But anyway, won't try her name. It's the story of a man named
called Uwe.
It's really appropriately titled, and he's this sort of grumpy old man. It's a little bit of the Up story, and he's living alone, and he's lost his wife. You learn that early on, and he's decided to call it quits. And you learn that early on that life's become too much, and everybody is not enforcing his rules that he lives by and his structure that he lives by, and he just can't take it anymore. So it's subtitled too. Very proud of myself for making it through the subtitled movie and really enjoying it too. I think it's one thing you just have to get into. It's a flow. Like once you start reading it and whatever, I don't know. I really enjoyed it and found it easy to keep up with. But he makes an unlikely friendship with some neighbors and stuff like that are around him. But it's a story that then meets in the middle. So it starts with a current time, and then it flashes back to how he met his wife and brings him to current time. And it was really, really sweet. A really sweet and sad and heartwarming movie, I thought. It was nominated for 2 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Foreign Film in Sweden, and then it got, I think, makeup and hairstyling this year. It didn't win.
I don't understand.
It lost to Suicide
Squad.
I don't understand the Best Makeup and Hair.
No, it didn't lose to Suicide Squad. No, it did.
Yeah. But what hair and makeup happened?
Uwe.
Him.
So
they love it when you make youngish people look oldish.
He was so interestingly though, he's actually the same age in real life as Uwe was portrayed in the movie. So I think it was 59 or something. He's 59 in real life.
So they made a 59-year-old look like a 59-year-old.
Like a really old 59-year-old.
He looked aged. He looked an old, like a weathered, very weathered and
59-year-old. Yeah. So I don't know. What did you like it, Rob? I really liked it.
And I want to clarify this too, because we've received some heat for knocking the subtitled movies. It's not that we don't like foreign films. Karen and I just don't like reading. We don't like reading. And
film is the art of illiterates, they say.
And so the fact that I enjoyed it again puts it on a pedestal for me, because I did enjoy it. I fell in love with this curmudgeon. I didn't even need the sympathy card for him. I just liked him as the curmudgeon, but the fact that I then bought into him as a sympathetic character for the situation that he's been through with that brought him to be kind of, he's always been this way possibly, but there were
very
things,
type A man.
He was balanced out by his wife who passed away, and you kind of understand the balancing and things like that. And trying to him dealing with his life after the death of his wife is just really interesting.
It's touching,
and,
touching
so
story.
I really
I'd recommend
enjoyed
it.
Yeah, I'd also recommend it.
And I think it was free on.
It
was free.
It's starting in March. It was available streaming on Amazon.
So yeah, go watch it.
Don't go watch it because then you won't give us money. But go buy the DVD.
There you go. Did you see this?
I did see it.
Oh yeah, what did you? I didn't know you saw it.
I will say about that movie that it is not. I'm not in the business of telling people who don't like seeing subtitled films, you saw the wrong subtitled film and you shouldn't have liked it. Because I think it's good and I want to encourage you both in that direction. And that is what I will say about that movie.
Fair
5
enough.
stars for Tim is what he just said.
The best motion picture. No, it's just like, it's not my kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's
the heartwarming.
I would have liked it
sweet.
better. Exactly. I would have liked it better if he'd stayed a curmudgeon.
Sure.
Because I could tell the beats before they started, and it's very crowd pleasy in a way that I found dull.
Sometimes I just want.
I found it boring
to go where I want it, where I think it will go.
Yeah.
I don't need the surprises, and I get from a critical perspective. You want to see something fresh, and yeah, it wasn't fresh, but I liked the character, and he did a very good job being that person. I
believed him. Yeah.
No, and I am glad that you guys had a good experience with the subtitled film. So for real, that's a great thing.
It gives us the reason to maybe take more chances again on other movies that we otherwise wouldn't, just because they are subtitled.
So what about you, Rob?
Yeah.
What was your?
It's funny you brought up. You actually brought it up.
Did you like your tickled wiener?
I tickled wiener. That's I wasn't talking about my tickled wiener. I was talking about 2016 Suicide Squad, the Oscar-winning
Suicide Squad.
I've been wanting to see this because it is number 9 on the box office for 2016. I wanted to go in objectively because I do like superhero movies as well too, and I wanted to. Obviously made $325 million, so certainly a box office success.
Big one.
An Oscar winner.
An Oscar-winning box office hit.
And starring Will Smith, Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney, Viola Davis, slew of other great side characters. The comic book really is about, in the movie as well, a secret government agency recruits the worst of the worst. They're afraid now that a Superman-type character, what if Superman was bad? What if the next Superman is bad? Let's bring a group together who has abilities. And they're very careful not to say mutant powers or things, because all those things are copyrighted.
Well, mutant is copyrighted by Marvel. I forget what phrase DC's editorial people are like. You can't call them superheroes. You've got to call them, is it metahumans?
Metahumans or something.
That's DC's term.
Yeah, that's DC's term. And the premise is great. It's just, it couldn't, for me, what did it want to be? What tone was it trying to do?
So did you guys see the trailers that got released like last January?
Yeah.
The great trailer set to the Queen song, which got a huge response, but it was in no way, and this has basically been confirmed, it wasn't really advertising the movie. It was advertising some fantasy version of the movie that was funny and charming. And so they reshot it to make it funny and charming, but it's not, because it wasn't supposed to be, and the director didn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
I didn't like this one.
The trailer, as you're saying, I was still compelled to want to go see it, because I was like, oh, here's a dark humor, the comedy of it, and then it was not present at all. And the redeeming thing for me, and I don't know what you thought of his performance, Will Smith, I thought did what the best he could do.
Trying his best.
I liked most of the performances, including, and this got me in some trouble back in August, I liked Jared Leto's Joker.
No.
I did.
Rob was cringing the whole time. The whole time Rob was like, what has he stooped to? How has he gotten this low? How is he this bad?
No, it's not that he's gotten this low.
Said that.
I guess part of it is that I have no affection for Jared Leto, so seeing him make an ass of himself doesn't offend me.
I don't know what he was trying to do with it. He was so over the top.
The girl with the bat was trying to pick it up too. Who was the bat girl? Not Batgirl.
Oh,
that's
Margot
a bad.
Robbie, Harley Quinn?
Yeah, was trying to pull up the rear
didn't
with
mind her.
Being entertaining and whatever. But
I liked her.
I don't know. It just felt like this hodgepodge that was crammed together.
Hodgepodge is the perfect word for it.
And then it didn't work. It just felt like it was disjointed storylines and disjointed characters, and I didn't think it was good at all.
My feel about it is that there was a 3-hour cut that they needed to make a 2-hour cut, but they made terrible choices. And maybe there is a better version of that movie that has different subplots and different scenes, but the version we saw is a mess.
Yeah, DC's got problems. I'm worried about their future with movies. I mean, I guess I'm not, because it made $325 million domestically.
It'll be curious to see how Wonder Woman does in June. I mean, I I kind of liked Batman versus Superman. I didn't like Suicide Squad, but I didn't think it was like toxic awful, but like, yeah.
Not great.
They're not heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Avoid it, I would say, if you...
I'd still, just because...
we paid for it,
Yeah,
too,
we paid
didn't
for it. I wouldn't
don't
have paid money for it. If it was available for streaming, I would, for free, I'd do
at
it.
this point, I'm so over superhero movies. The only ones I would recommend are like the Logans, no, it's doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, it's not gonna hurt
A money grab
that's
kind of
just
thing.
not enough.
They know it's going to make money even just because it has the label on it, and so that's what it becomes.
Well, remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternating.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Direct from our website, you can head to our Patreon page, which provides you access to a ton of perks. You may want to take us out to a movie. I'd love to go on a movie date with you guys. Maybe have Tim write a movie review, pick your own episode topic. You can do that all from our Patreon page, just like recent Patreon subscriber Brendan McAllister, who picked up our Razzie Award. Thank you so much, Brendan. Also want to thank all of our all of our listeners who support the show by clicking through our Amazon link. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alternating.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, here are the things that were purchased. We had some video game equipment purchased. I've heard about this Nintendo Switch.
I own a Nintendo Switch. So I have owned it for a month today, if I'm not mistaken.
And tell me, what are you enjoying it?
I have not plugged it in.
Because you've been busy.
I do not have the time to play it. If I play a new Zelda game, I need to commit to 6 hours of playing the Zelda game. And I don't have 6 hours right now. I won't have 6 hours until then.
And is it that is the purpose of the Switch, like it can go from a mobile unit direct to a screen unit or TV unit?
It is a tablet that plugs into a dock, and the dock plugs into the TV. So when it's docked, it's outputting 1080p to your television. When you're holding it, it's a 720p tablet. And the controllers come off.
Way too technical.
You can switch from TV to handheld.
Switch, clever.
It's the opposite of clever.
Carrie just wants her Mario Brothers and...
Well, it's the Mario machine. The Mario is coming out.
So there's only
at the
two
end
buttons?
of summer.
Is there only two buttons?
There's like 7 or 8 buttons.
That's where you. It's too many. It's too many. You just need a left and a right. I just need to know where to jump and where to speed up a little bit, and that's all.
Mario has never just had 2 buttons.
The A and B.
Yeah, the A and the B, the left, the right, and the up and the down.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
There are some arrows. Yeah.
Yes.
So we also had some pet supplies purchased, a metal crate for transporting someone's dog, I imagine, 36, 23, 25. So decent sized animal.
Medium dog, yeah.
I want to try this. Groceries, gourmet food, Gustav's English licorice, all sorts, 2.5 pounds.
Interesting.
So you know
that is a lot of licorice.
You know you like this if you're getting 2.5 pounds.
Someone is having a major licorice party.
Yeah.
Red Vines or Twizzlers, Tim?
Come on, wait. Before you say anything, think carefully. This is like a lot rides on this answer.
What I think carefully is that
our friendship rides on this.
Is that I have not had Twizzlers in something like 15 years, and I don't think in my entire life I've ever had a Red Vine.
It's like he said
neutral.
Twizzler. He said Twizzler.
He's playing neutral.
I'm not saying that I like Twizzlers. I haven't had them in 15 years.
Said Twizzler.
I don't like candy.
We've got to pick up some
that's
Gustavs. We got to pick up some Gustavs. I got to give it a shot.
All right.
Also had a book purchase, The Brain Warriors Reignite Your Energy, Your Focus, Attack Illness and Aging, Transform Pain into Purpose.
Nice.
Interesting.
Right.
I want to give that a try.
Like that.
We also had a gift card purchase. Very nice. $50 gift card. Looks like birthday icon, so someone's birthday celebration. Thank you guys for all your purchases. When we get back, our top 5 religious movies. And welcome back to Alternating, where we're talking about our top 5 religious movies. This one, guys, this was tough for me. I had trouble formulating my list, my parameters, and it's the thing I like to do most. How did you guys pick? What is a religious movie?
Tim? I got to be honest, this one was so easy for me. Like, when we came up with the topic, I was like, okay, boom, 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 I'm done. Like, it was not quite that easy for me, but like, it just seems so self-evident. Like, is it a film about religion? Is it a film about the founding of religion? Because it
So,
is a Jesus Christ movie.
Did it have to have elements of God in it for you?
Not God per se.
Okay.
I will say my rule did not say that it had to be Judeo-Christian, but it turned out that all 5 of mine are, which I kind of feel a little lame about.
I was really hoping you were going to come in on that one because
I can make up. Well,
Make something up right
I
now.
was thinking, hey, it's a great movie about the Shinto religion. Is Spirited Away, and it is.
Thank
So
you.
you should see Spirited Away because
that's his number 5 movie.
That is my number.
Thank you.
Not 5. Well, the thing is, I don't know Shinto, so I can't say like, oh, it's a great movie about Shinto belief because I do know the Judeo-Christian thing, so I can like talk about it.
Are you saying that you pick movies that are representative of the religion?
I picked movies that have something to say about religious belief or about God.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll let you go, Carrie.
And I will
unless
say,
you
like,
want me to.
I'm coming from the perspective of a non-believer, so it's kind of maybe weird, but like, I think what is the nature of God is to me the most interesting question art can answer. So like, that's kind of one of the things
That's very deep.
That is
not
very
what I did.
deep.
That is not what I did
I
at
can
all.
definitely feel myself sweating right now. So I've agonized a bit over this more than any episode that we've probably had before in terms of the criteria. Usually I just throw it out there. This time in particular, I was like, God,
You were like, God.
I don't even say. So here's the weird
So
thing.
you let God pick for you.
I'm a big gosh person. I don't even take the Lord's name in vain. I don't even know why, because I really hate religious movies, apparently, because I've seen none of them. None of them. And I realized why. I had this like really self-reflective moment. I think I don't like religious movies because I don't like when people talk about religion, number one. And number two, it's like the, I know you're an only child, but when your sister really annoys you and you're not like really a big fan of them, and yet you don't want anyone talking bad about it.
Sure.
So Rob was like, oh, have you ever seen Religiousness or Religulous or whatever it was?
Religulous is bad.
I never saw it because I don't want anyone really talking about it at all. I don't want you saying anything about it, apparently, but I don't really want you saying anything bad about it either. So I think you'll see my list. It's the only religious movies I've ever seen, ever.
Interesting.
And they're really loosely religious. And I'd like to also call back that I am the casual moviegoer.
You're going to be safe. I'm definitely more casual than I am
I feel like
critic.
a really terrible
And I
person
benefited
right now.
greatly. We had huge, I think by far the most
Yeah.
responses we've had to
Which is
on a
what
top
made
5
me the most
episode.
self-conscious because people are clearly engaged in this area and have seen a lot of stuff, and that has made me very
But
self-conscious.
unlike Tim, where it was like we're finding out the way you put it now makes me very insecure. is we're not finding out about God, and most of my picks, most of these have religious elements to it, and that was enough for
Okay.
me to
Sure.
greenlight
An
it.
element.
And I
or to spotlight it.
oh, clever, very nice. Maybe not. I don't know.
And I will say one of my other criteria that may or may not assuage Carrie's concerns, a film that was anti-religious or a-religious in a very specific way, I considered not qualifying. So like Ingmar Bergman made some amazing films dealing with his loss of faith, but I just couldn't bring myself to say that a loss of faith movie is a movie about religion. It's a movie about not religion.
Sure.
So I all of mine are films that are religious. They all believe that God exists, even when the filmmaker in one case did not.
Well, and I desperately wanted to come up with something that brought in other faiths too, because I think that's important. And I just am so limited
So
in
Carrie
this
brought
area.
in Keeping the Faith with Ben Stiller and Ed Norton.
I haven't seen it.
was joking.
I wanted
I also
to.
have not seen it.
Oh wow! It's about a rabbi and Edward Norton playing the
Walking
priest
into a
and
bar.
both in love with the same woman.
Oh,
it's pretty
I
fun.
know, yeah.
Well, that should be no conflict then, because the priest, in theory, can't make it with her.
There you go.
See?
So short movie.
Yeah, really short.
Predictable.
Yeah, I know what happens.
Hey, we all still
Spoiler alert.
saw Titanic. So,
So anyway, all of us are feeling, except for Tim, a little bit nervous talking about this. So let the judgery
Who wants to
begin.
go first?
Like all
I'd actually
religious
like to go first
things
because
should be.
I walked into this recording with a top 6, and I could not resolve my top 6. So the way to resolve it was to make a completely arbitrary bullshit rule, and that arbitrary bullshit rule is one film per director. And the other arbitrary bullshit rule is that a great film about religion is a different thing than a great religious film, which is why the second of my films by Carl Theodor Dreyer, which I also think is the best film ever made, The Passion of Joan of Arc, did not make my top list. I love it, and those of you who mentioned it on the website, you know that I love it. I just could not bring it to make my list. That being said, my list actually starts with, at number 5, a 1966 French film. And we're gonna say right now, a lot of European films going to be on this list of mine. A 1966 French film by the Catholic director Robert Bresson, titled O Hussar Balthazar, which is a metaphorical version of the life of Christ, in which Christ is represented as a donkey named Balthazar, who is born, who suffers constantly, and dies. And along the way, a young woman named, I believe, Marie, so, I mean, there's your metaphor, crosses his path, also suffers, but as Balthazar dies, Marie finds some level of redemption. So it's about the suffering of a pure innocent as a way of sort of generating not goodness in the world. Like, Balthazar's suffering doesn't really do anything, but it sort of transposes with this idea that, people, some innocent has come to suffer on behalf of the rest of us. And that, to me, is sort of a very sobering message, and done in a very ascetic and stark and severe way. But is, to me, the essence of the religious film, is to get just the purified version of the thesis statement of the religion. So that is my number 5.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's a Pontius Pilate?
That was a person.
A Pontius Pilate is a person?
The man whose name was Pontius Pilate.
Interesting. So how did you suffer under Pontius Pilate?
Because he was the ruler.
Oh.
Yeah, all clicking now.
These
All clicking.
I thought you were setting up a joke about what's a Pontius
no.
Pilate?
This is
an airplane.
No, I really always thought it was an airplane.
Pontius Pilate was the governor of so the Roman Empire had its little areas, and Pontius Pilate was the man sent by Rome to oversee the local populations in Judea. So he was a Roman functionary, basically.
So many years of Awanas that I was in, and I just now pulling that together. So thanks, Tim.
He was the.
That's whose name is Pontius?
A Roman.
What a weird name.
A Roman from 2,000 years ago was named
Pontius Pilate.
He wasn't super popular, so the name didn't stick around.
Yeah.
Pontius Pilate, for those of you who have seen the classic film Monty Python's Life of Brian, is the character played by Michael Palin as a very serious Roman with a very, very pronounced lisp. And
there you have it.
Have you seen this movie, Carrie?
I have not.
You should see this movie.
I will definitely never see it. But
it's delightful.
Really?
And it's so good.
Oh.
I don't know how to even describe what will be happening next, but we're going to have some contrasting picks, I think. Go ahead, Carrie.
I don't know. Okay, we're going to level set. I feel like this one's sort of in line. This is the 1992 French film Sister Act. Is my number 5.
Les actes sûrs.
Damn it. You've stolen my number 3.
Starring Whoopi Goldberg.
You've stolen my number 3.
I did?
You did.
Well,
yes.
I'm telling you, I'm
We're
definitely
just in
more
a
on
just
the
giant
casual.
pile right now. I can just feel it. So, also, it's directed by Emil Ardoliano, written by Paul Rudnick.
Emil Ardolino?
That who?
Maybe.
A Vegas singer witnesses a mob murder, and the cops stash her away in a nunnery to protect her from the hitmen that are after her. But
it has deeper subtext.
She brings the church together. The church is very divided, very separated
Absolutely.
right now.
She's
They're feeling very bored in their nunnery, and she brings them together through song. And she brings them together. The whole church comes together, including Maggie Smith and Kathy Najimy and Bill Nunn. And it's
Harvey Keitel doesn't show his penis in this movie.
Which, anytime that happens,
Plus.
it is a grand day for the cinema. I actually think you're selling it short a little bit. I got to be honest. It's not just that she brings together the nuns through song. She finds a mechanism for turning idiot secular pop songs into professions of religious joy, which is, I think, delightful. I actually like this movie.
Yeah.
Is it on your list?
It is not on my list.
No.
I enjoyed it as well. That's why it's even higher on my. This is going to be. This is a bad episode for me.
I don't feel great.
Well, I do have to ask the
me.
question. What do both of you think about Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit?
Close. It was
It's
close.
not as good as 1, though.
No.
It's not
it?
anywhere near. It's not.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
can't
like it.
even remember
I like
it.
1. I don't like 2.
I don't even remember it really.
Joy V. Hill, audience member, pointed this out though. Is Lauryn Hill is represented in part 2, and some of the music I like better, but the classic songs that are represented through religious, it made me like to sing. I wanted to get up and sing.
And Whoopi was awesome in it.
I was 10 years old at the time. I just really enjoyed this movie. So this is more a nostalgia factor for me. Emile Ardolino, the director, was actually the director of Dirty Dancing. And a movie that I thought about maybe bringing to this list as well is Chances Are with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if you remember this, which
I
is
know
a
the
little
song.
religious. Yeah, Chances Are, yeah.
How does it go, Tim? How does the song
Yeah, make him sing.
No, I don't know. You might get me to sing Jesus Christ Superstar before the night is done. I'm not going to sing anything
Excellent.
else.
But
That's the
the
plan.
director actually passed away shortly after filming this movie at age 50. So, yeah, so you've taken my number 3.
I can't believe that. I don't know what to say right now, but what's your number 5 then?
So yeah, number 5 to me. Another movie that plays more on the nostalgia factor is I was on a high school field trip and managed to sneak away to go catch this. This is 1998's What Dreams May Come. Yeah,
Never saw it, but I saw a clip of it and was already crying.
It is a gorgeous movie.
Yeah, beautiful movie from a visual perspective.
Very, very deserving winner of the Best Visual Effects Oscar.
Gosh, you're good, Tim. Gosh, you're good. You just pulled that out of nowhere. Nominated and won for Best Visual Effects. Did not do well at the box office. Made for $85 million and only brought in $55 million. This is a movie directed by Vincent Ward, starring Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Annabella Sciorra.
I don't actually know.
Okay.
I don't want to mispronounce her name.
So, has a great family life. Robin Williams was a doctor. After he dies in a car crash, you know that right away. He goes to heaven, and heaven's awesome. Heaven's a sweet, beautifully depicted. It's almost like a Van Gogh
right?
painting.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Like you want to live in it. The paint like bleeds off the canvas. And unfortunately, his wife also passes away, but she commits suicide. And in the Christian religion, if you commit suicide, I guess you go to hell.
I don't believe that.
So he has to go and journey to hell through purgatory and all this thing to kind of reclaim her and find her and bring her back. And
Does he find her?
I don't know.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he? But I don't know.
I don't like that.
This was one of the ones where
They all go to heaven.
I didn't grow up a very religious person, but his journey, Robin Williams, and still miss him tremendously, and miss his movie. Going to miss the movies he didn't make. Go ahead.
I hate to say this because we all miss him. I think the movie suffers from the casting. I think it would.
Who's miscast?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
I think that
Who would have been better?
I don't know. Someone who, when Robin Williams plays serious, it always feels a little forced to me, like he's thinking too hard about it. And I just think someone like more. Hey, this is going to sound weird, like a kind of a non-entity, like Greg Kinnear. Like somebody who can just kind of be a blob of vanilla paste.
Yeah.
Who you don't expect to be something.
Just like someone who is the vessel for the story rather than someone who we're paying attention to. And I think we pay attention to Robin Williams too much.
Yeah. So, audience member Sarah Pearl also likes this. You can find it streaming on Amazon for $3.99 right now. I recommend.
Oh, it's worth seeing for anyone who cares whatsoever about style.
Yeah. Well, that was number 5 for me, Tim. Number 4 to you.
So my number 4 is the only one of the films on my list that I think either one of you might have had any shot of having seen.
All right.
Quite recent. Ordinarily my lists top out at like 1970. But this is a 2011 release, a 2007 Best Picture nominee by a certain Terrence Malick. The Tree of Life.
No.
Know it, have not seen it.
So it is a movie about many things. It is a movie about growing up a young boy in Waco, Texas in the 50s. It is a movie about evolution and cosmology, but it's also a movie about we live in a universe in which suffering happens. People die. If we are sure that God exists in a suffering universe, why isn't he doing anything? Where is God in all of this? And so that's kind of what the movie's about, is like this Texas family sort of trying to understand the nature of God. And there's this sort of symbol where the boy's mother represents the loving side of God. The boy's father represents the authoritarian, demanding side of God. And it's just like this very lovely, powerful metaphor for how are we to know that God is there and that he's watching for us. And the movie in what I think is one of the great moments of a 21st century film. Jessica Chastain, it was her first big role, the movie that sort of put her on the map, whispers in this very plaintive way when her youngest child has died, "Where were you?" And she's clearly speaking to God. And the movie flashes back to the Big Bang and then goes through the creation of the universe. So it's like this way that the movie answers her question. God was everywhere, and sometimes bad things happen, and that's just part of everything.
See, I wouldn't have even connected that. That's why Terrence Malick scares me.
You make me want to see it, though, the way you're describing it.
It is a movie I worship, as it were. No, I love this movie so much. It's one of my favorite
that's
movies.
what we would need. Rather than subtitles, we would need like explainers, like happening, what's happening?
Movie,
why did it just go to an explosion?
The movie makes it clear.
Yeah.
Like the movie, you are not going to watch the movie and be like, this is ambiguous and I don't understand what's going on. If it has a problem, it's that it over-articulates. Like, this is about God. Do you understand?
This is the voice of God. Yeah, no, I've heard of that one and I've wanted to see it, so maybe we can try and catch it.
We should try. What's a good entry level Terrence Malick? If there is such a thing.
Thin Red Line is probably
I think I've seen that.
That's going to be the best first Malick film because it's the most conventional in terms of genre.
Yeah.
It's quite long, though. I'd almost am tempted to say Days of Heaven.
Okay.
Those two. One of those two.
We'll introduce you. We'll see if you like it, Carrie. Then we'll move on to some of the more heady stuff.
I mean, if you guys ever want to do a Terrence Malick party, I own all of his movies, so we can hang out.
You guys know how to have fun. That's for sure.
Number 4, do you care?
Number 4 for me is going to, again, probably get a lot of criticism from anybody who likes Tim. And anybody who doesn't like Tim.
Well, anybody who likes Tim and doesn't like Sister Act, there's probably a lot of them. So it's cool.
So the number 4 for me is the 2006 movie, The Da Vinci Code. I know. Okay, I know. I don't even really... I know.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this, Carrie.
So here are my thoughts. I had somehow loved this movie. So I read the book. I have a smidge of ADD, like real ADD, I think, like the unmedicated version, but the kind where it's really difficult for me to finish a book. So I finished the Da Vinci Code, and it was a page turner for me. I couldn't put it down.
Oh, it's a page turner. It's definitely a page turner.
Are you talking like in a fire? They're turning in a fire. You hated this?
No. It's hard to put it down.
It is.
It's very gripping.
It's gripping. It's hard to put it down. It got me to read the entire book. So then when the movie came out, I watched that, and I felt like the movie exactly mirrored exactly how I pictured the book. And some people don't like that, and some people do, and I like that. I like when this is exactly how I pictured it. It's directed by Ron Howard and written by Akiva
Goldsman.
Thank you. Yes. I'm having trouble with names today. And so anything Tom Hanks I like, just because it's Tom Hanks.
Even when Tom Hanks is wearing the world's worst mullet?
It was a short mullet. He kept it tight. It was a tight mullet. Audrey Tautou. Thank you. Jean Reno.
Jean Reno.
Gosh.
Oh, even better. Rob wins that one.
Yeah, thank you. Finally.
Ian McKellen. McKellen was in there. Thank you.
Ian McKellen.
You were so rude. No. That was my moment in the spotlight. Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Who
was Silas, who was awesome as Silas in that movie. So a murder inside the Louvre takes place, and there's clues that are set within the Da Vinci paintings that lead to the discovery of a religious mystery protected by a secret society for thousands of years. It's a whole twisty thriller book/movie, and I don't care. I just like it.
I'm not asking to care. I think it's good. I think disagreement fuels discussion, and therefore
what was bad about it?
Every single element that wasn't Ian McKellen.
What about Paul Bettany?
Paul Bettany is fine.
When he does this, the barbed wire on his legs.
When he self-flagellates himself. Yeah.
What is that? That's he self-farted.
Flagellate, not flatulate.
Wait, what did he do?
Flagellation.
Flagellation.
Self-whipping.
Oh, is that a thing? Okay. All right. Never mind.
Just up and farts. Right?
It's like, I'm going to fart right on
I was
myself.
like, I didn't hear him fart when he squeezed the little like barbed wire on
I
his
think
leg,
we can
but
assume that probably farting accompanied every other thing that was going on.
What
So
was
here's
bad
the
about
thing.
this movie?
I don't mind this. I don't mind. I like this movie too. I like National Treasure just because I
I
like
like National Treasure.
I like puzzles and I like
the puzzle.
this was the best of the three. Can we at least all agree to that? I don't know if you've seen all three of the
Angels and Demons.
Angels and Demons
I haven't
and
seen.
Inferno.
I haven't seen Inferno.
Yeah.
They're all kind of the same, and I didn't even really want to go further than this one because I knew it would be all.
It's the only one that has
same.
both McKellen and Audrey Tautou, so it's probably the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was invested because I don't read very much, but this is a book I actually read, and it
See?
was a page turner, and I was invested because I enjoyed the book. So, yeah, I think I ended up enjoying the movie, and I had no expectation. I didn't need it to be anything more than just
Entertainment.
represent the book in some fashion.
And how much of so this is another thing where like again, whatever, I don't even care if anyone's listening. How much of this is true? Like it feels very factual in terms of the way Brow's laughing at me.
It is. If I were being generous, I would say that Dan Brown is an imaginative fella.
Is he?
And if I were being ungenerous, I'd say that he's a fucking liar.
I've told a lot of people these
But it's
facts
clever. I
that I
mean, it's
read
a
of
clever-
this book. He pieces it together
he
in such
does,
a way
yeah.
that it's so
There is
believable.
a point in the book where he describes the layout of the Mona Lisa, and if you're holding an edition that has the full Mona Lisa and not just her face, you can look at the cover and realize that he has mistaken. He's wrong in his description of the painting.
So I won't tell everybody that I know these facts, but that's I don't care. I was entertained.
Movies are not about that. That's not what movies do.
Yeah, I was entertained and I liked it. Move on.
Number 4 to me. Speaking of controversial, this was named the most controversial movie of all time, according to Entertainment Weekly in 2006. Talking about 2004's The Passion of the Christ. I'm getting back on. This is a true, more in Tim's area, Tim's neck of the woods, from a true religious kind of movie. This is a movie about the last few days of Christ. Directed by Mel Gibson, starring Jim Caviezel, Monica Bellucci, Maya Morgenstern. So yeah, it depicts here we go, final 12 hours of the life of Jesus. Boy, so the pre-sale on this broke all records until Star Wars Force Awakens came along back now in 2015. So I made for $30 million, grossed $370 million domestically or whatever it was.
It might still be the highest grossing R-rated film.
Yeah.
I think that's the case.
And the background on my viewing experience watching this, Tim knows my friend Josh, who I think at the time had just switched over to Catholicism.
It was probably for a girl.
It was for a girl, I believe.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm fairly just agnostic. You know, I kind of feel like something's out there, but not really sure what. But went into this movie, it was around Easter, and I remember tearing up. I remember tearing up heavy. And then I look over to my stoic friend Josh in certain scenes, and the tears are just pouring down his face. So for people of the Christian religion, I think this movie was everything. It only gets 49% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I never saw it.
So
there were plenty of religious viewers and critics who actually took it to task for being all about the suffering of Jesus and not even a skosh about the message.
Yeah, there was no message here.
It's not redemptive.
No.
And when the end of the movie, spoiler alert for the Bible.
Don't tell me what happens. I didn't see it.
This is the Passion of the Christ. It's the foundational narrative of Western civilization.
Jesus dies.
Jesus dies, lies in state for 3 days, and is resurrected. And that is why we celebrate Easter.
On the third day.
So it ends with Jesus resurrecting. It's not really Easter. It's more like the night of the Saturday before Easter, maybe.
Did they roll away the stone?
No.
Okay.
None of that happens. So he looks like this angry, pissed off action movie Jesus, and there's no whisper of like the message of any positive message of this is what critics said.
There isn't.
This is what critics said.
And I get that, and you know we hear the tales. You know, Jesus died for our sins and suffered for our sins, right? But then when you see and it's like maybe you paint an image that was crucified. That's terrible in its of itself. But when you actually when you get Mel Gibson and his directing style, depicting suffering, like then it's like
It's real.
Ooh, that guy did that for me. Ooh,
That
Yeah.
movie and Saw were the two films that were literally
Yeah.
the essay where the phrase torture porn was coined to describe the Passion of the Christ in Saw.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
actually kind of dig Passion of the Christ. It doesn't reach me emotionally whatsoever. I also think that there's a certain level of like in the amount of violence and whether
Sure.
this is meant to be redemptive. I think it's a hell of a good movie. I think Mel Gibson's a hell of a good director, and it's tapping into this like really rich tradition of Bible cinema, and it's like it's beautiful. Caleb Deschanel shot it in these thick, gooey colors that I just love. The production design is great.
Yeah.
So I do love it as an act of pageantry. I think it's a really effective, like, visceral experience.
So this was tough for Caviezel, who played Jesus. You probably knew you were maybe going down the wrong path a little bit when all this stuff started happening, but he was accidentally whipped for real twice, leaving a 14-inch
Flagellated?
scar. Flagellated, yes.
Thank you.
Also, he was struck by lightning.
Like a real lightning?
if I'm playing Jesus in a movie and I get struck by lightning, I stop playing Jesus.
Is that a sign?
Yeah.
How is it not a sign?
then-
I'm an
Yeah.
atheist, and
Then
that's
the
a sign.
150-pound cross fell on him, separating his shoulder.
Sure.
And
That
after
happens.
production, all the stress of having to play Jesus apparently caused heart problems. He had to have heart surgery, and Mel Gibson was kind enough to pick up the tab. So
Oh,
that's
that
good.
Mel.
Good on Mel.
Mel Gibson made a couple pennies from that movie. I think he
I
could
think he
afford
did.
it.
I think he did all right. So streaming again on Amazon for $3.99. Laurel Hose audience member also liked that one. Number 3 to you, Tim.
All right. So speaking of stories about the life of Christ, my favorite version of that genre is a 1964 film. So back to 1960s, back to Europe. It's The Gospel According to St. Matthew, which is a film by the gay atheist Marxist Pier Paolo Pasolini,
Perfect.
who decided to take it upon himself to make a story. More or less, he wanted to prove he could make a better Christian film than a Christian could, and he did. It's so good. It is, it's Marxist, so it's totally about like the angry Jesus who kicks down the Pharisees' tables and like demands to know why they're defacing his father's house with their grubby, filthy money, and we need to love all people no matter how poor. So it's totally a Marxist message film, like 100%. You cannot miss that about it. But what is great about it is that it is a reminder of, so I'm not a Christian, but as I understand Christian theology, the point is that God incarnated in the flesh as Jesus to be human, to live and suffer as a human. And I think what most movies about the life of Jesus, Passion of the Christ being a very conspicuous exception, they all present him as this like cardboard like object. Like he has no personality, he has no embodiment. He's just like this beatific brown-haired dude in a robe who just looks very, very placidly constipated all the time. And the gospel according to St. Matthew is like, no, Jesus was a man. That is why he had to incarnate as a man, the Son of Man. And there's just that sense of it. Like, why would God become a physical being? And I think that this movie is about that in a way that's just really, really effective. And also gets to the messages of Christianity that I think a lot of, modern American Christians certainly pretend aren't there, because it's all about like, no, you have to care about society. You have to care about the downtrodden. That is what is Christly, not going to church every Sunday.
That's got to be rough, though, to have a movie about the Christian religion, one of the best ones made by an atheist. How does that go down?
I mean, people respect it, and Pasolini was clearly not mocking Christianity.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think he clearly admired the teachings.
Yeah.
And so he grappled with that in a very honest way.
Number 3 to you, Carrie.
Here we
Since
go.
you stole my number 3.
Keeping in line with the positive things about religion, I'm going to go with the 2015 movie Spotlight, which deals with Catholic...
with Catholic priests
pedophilia.
really getting involved in the lives of their young parishioners.
That's a better way to put it. Involved. Very involved.
Helping the development.
Helping the development of the young.
Yes.
And this movie was really good. And that's why it's here. And it's about religion, right? Because it's
totally.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's directed by Tom McCarthy, written by Josh Singer. It's a true story of how the Boston Globe uncovered the massive scandal of child issues.
Kitty diddling.
To that too, in the local Catholic Church, and It stars Mark Ruffalo, who was awesome in this movie, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, and Liam Schreiber. It gets an 8.1 on IMDb. I loved this movie when it came out just because of the message that it sent. Nothing should be infallible. Like it really, really bothers me that, there's things that people can hide behind. And I think that, again, much like the Da Vinci Code, you don't know what's fact or fiction within the movie, but I don't think you can deny that these things aren't real. And I like when real messages are delivered about these kinds of things so that they can be addressed.
Yeah, I think this is fact.
Okay, good.
This is all.
Okay, it's all fact.
Rip from the headlines.
Yeah.
So it's more factual than the Da Vinci Code. And
Which is also probably true of Sister Act, for that matter.
So
while my co-hosts are gathering themselves, because apparently I am one of the great wits.
You're very funny.
Well, I think what's interesting about Spotlight is getting to the idea, is it a religious movie? It totally is, because like half the cast are Boston Catholics.
Yeah.
And the question is like, what does it mean to be a believer in this institution and what it represents, and to have to be the person who says this institution is in some ways hopelessly corrupt.
Totally.
And what does that do to you as the reporter?
And what does that do to force you to change? Like there has to be, in order for things to improve, you have to identify and change. And I liked that about this movie, that it called out something that's very real and very and needs to change, and then puts it in the forefront.
To me, it was how also a large institution, you turn a blind eye to certain things to preserve it, and unknowingly sometimes, and just like, oh, that's just that one time, and you let it go. But then how, like, to what end, and to how many times? I remember a line from that movie. It still sticks with me today. Is where the church is even saying, you think in years, we think in centuries. Like, how long do you think you can? We've been around for millennia or whatever it is. How long do you think you're going to be around for?
What was the
response? We can outlast you. Yep. I don't remember the response, because that was a damn good argument.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's the problem. That's exactly the problem, is that you're talking in centuries and we're talking about fixing it now. And I think that's exactly the problem.
So I guess what I'm confused about, why do you think it's good that priests molest children, Rob?
Let's get back to that, Rob.
This seems to be worthy of
Why are you in support of this?
I support large institutions. And that's just the way I am.
Something that hasn't been mentioned that I think we definitely need to just nod our heads towards. This is a Best Picture Oscar winner.
Yeah.
It is one of the 2 consecutive Blanklight Best Picture Oscar winners, in fact.
I loved this
preceding
movie.
Moonlight, and also the winner of the Best original best original screenplay.
Yeah.
And also this got to give Tom McCarthy credit, had the best movie of the year, and then in the same year he also released Adam Sandler's
Among the Worst.
The name escapes me, about
the Cobbler, which is actually my number 2. No.
Right.
You had a religious experience while watching it.
It's really, really about Jewishness.
You thought you were going to die.
It's a lot about Jewishness in a really terrible way.
Well, we'll skip my number 3. It was, in fact, Sister Act. Carrie grabbed that on her number 5. So number 2 to you, Tim.
So sadly, not The Cobbler. My number 2 is probably the farthest from anything I personally understand. I mean, I was raised in a Protestant Midwestern faith. And this one is all about the Russian Orthodox Church, my favorite of the Orthodox churches. And it is the 1966 European, except it's Russian, Andrei Rublev by Andrei Tarkovsky. It is the kind of the biopic of Russia's most prominent painter of icons, which are those little paintings of saints and Jesus and Mary all looking like sort of up with this like pained face. And anyway, so he was a religious painter. And the movie calls itself his story. The movie is actually a study of how Russian identity formed from this like massive weird blend of cultures that kind of were hated each other, couldn't get along, sometimes could get along, in the 16th century, I think, like sometime mid last millennium. So how Russian identity coalesced, and how this really fervent belief in the religious righteousness of things drove that. So how Russian identity is a function of Russian religious identity. Like, that's kind of the point of the movie. It's 3.5 hours long, so it takes its sweet time in establishing this. Shockingly, made under the auspices of a communist government, talking about how religion is the way to find the truth in the face of totalitarian regimes. This movie was officially banned, astonishingly enough. But it's breathtakingly beautiful. It has some of the best sequences in the history of cinema, some of which, if I told you what the sequence consisted of, you would think I'm a madman. There is a 30-minute sequence about casting a church bell in this movie. It's the climax of the movie. They're casting the bell for this church, and it's like this hugely significant moment because it's literally like the church now exists, and now Russia exists, and now all of these things have come into being. Amazingly powerful stuff. One of the best movies ever made, and just all about how faith in something bigger than ourselves can help guide humans towards whatever the right is, in some fumbling, confused way.
Good luck following that one, Care, with your number 2.
I feel good about it. After the 30-minute bell ringing scene.
No, the bell never gets rung. It does get rung, but this is just about forging the bell.
After the 30-minute forging the bell scene, I'm going to go with the 1989 film Field of Dreams.
Interesting.
Interesting pick, Carrie. Interesting pick.
Left field for religious, but I like it.
You know what? I'll tell you why it is religious. So it's directed by Phil Alden Robinson, written by R.P. Kinsella, an Iowa corn farmer hearing voices from where?
Oh.
Not this world.
Aliens?
Not aliens.
Oh, okay. I thought aliens.
Interprets them as a command to build a baseball diamond. If you build it, they will come. And he does. And what happens becomes something that is very much real. And so it's this man that lives in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. He sort of hears these spirits, hears these voices, and it's coming from beyond heaven. Very religious. And right?
I'm on board with this.
Okay, good. And they come back and they become a part of the movie too. So the people come back from heaven to become a part of the movie. And this is where my love affair with Ray Liotta began.
That is a fascinating love affair.
It was deep. It was a deep love affair as Shoeless Joe Jackson. So it stars Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, Ray Liotta, Amy Madigan. It gets a 7.5 on IMDb. This was one of my just life favorites. It's in probably my top 10 of movies of all time. Been to the baseball field, threw a ball on it. It just touched me. It felt real. It felt tangible, and the experience of achieving your dreams and trying things and doing things that are outside the box, and the interaction. The whole thing, that whole movie in totality was touching and good for me. Religious?
Yeah,
right?
no, definitely.
I would say. I mean, it posits the existence of an afterlife that is specifically defined in terms of being like a good, peaceful place.
Yeah, and it was good. I want to watch it again.
And I also find that to be kind of an interesting choice because we always think of that as being a guy movie. It's a weepy for guys.
Oh, is it?
That's kind of a.
I'm a little bit of a dude.
Yeah, well, that and.
Well, I mean, I know Robert's.
She crushes on Ray Liotta, which I still don't get. I don't
really?
get the Ray Liotta.
I think of him as like a violent goon.
So he was a little bit of a violent goon later, but is Shoeless Joe Jackson with those socks when you wear the socks up to the knee? Oh,
Carrie makes me dress up in this all the time. It's very uncomfortable.
That's it.
I just like. So not to turn this into the Ray Liotta hour. In his first screen appearance, in the classic Golden Globe winning The Lonely Lady, starring Pia Zadora, he is introduced. I think it's really the only thing he does in the plot. He attempts to sexually assault Pia Zadora with a garden hose.
We all make mistakes.
So it's not so much that he became a thug later on as that he had his brief moment as Shoeless Joe Jackson in a career where he played a violent goon.
Yeah, I don't discredit him for that. Still, the love holds strong.
But that could be what Carrie's into, too. So, I mean, we don't need to...
Let's not nitpick here.
I'm not asking. I already have heard about the socks. I'm not going to ask any other questions about your bedroom life.
The knee socks. So that is my number 2.
No, it's a very sweet movie. Also, Best Picture nominee. So we're having all kinds of Oscar movies.
Number 2 for me was a big year. 1999 was a big year for me in film. And it also brought me the movie Dogma. 2 hours and 10 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.4. Rotten Tomatoes 67%. Directed by Kevin Smith. So it's a comedy. Wait,
Kevin Smith, the comic guy?
He has a show now. Yeah, the comic book. Well, it's not
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob. You got it.
Nice.
You got it. Clerks fame. Other things. Chasing Amy. This one stars. Just Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. These are all guys up your alley. Linda Fiorentino, Alan Rickman, the late Alan Rickman.
Yes.
Yeah. Jason Lee, Jason Mewes, that's Jay, and then I guess Silent Bob being Kevin Smith, Chris Rock, Selma Hayek, and then George Carlin putting in a great performance as a priest, which is perfectly cast.
Yeah. And I want to just throw in, and without saying anything, a very, very wonderful cameo from Alanis Morissette.
Yes, without saying anything more, Alanis Morissette is awesome in this.
It's a good cameo.
So, I mean, we've kind of seen this story a little bit before in that angels looking down on humans. Humans got it kind of nice. They're a little upset. They feel like, how come we get the short end? Let's undo humanity. So it's two angels' goal to do that, and then a ragtag group kind of standing in their way and trying to stop that from happening. And I laughed. I remember laughing a lot about this. It made me question some things. I mean, it's not a deeply religious moving, but you think philosophically about a couple of things, and it's fun to, I think, being able to laugh at things really helps. So yeah, this one, and I really enjoyed it.
It's totally religious. I mean, Kevin Smith is religious.
Yeah.
And made this film as an expression of how he views his relationship with God. Like that, it's totally a deep religious film.
I have never seen this movie, and I've always wanted to, just as a FYI.
And it's hard to find. You can't track it down. It's not available on streaming.
I
you
tried
can't
to track
send away
down.
for it, so it's tough to find.
And just, physical media is unpopular, but it hasn't been eradicated from the face of the earth.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Well, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was my number 2.
Okay.
Number 1 for you, Tim.
Number 1 takes us back to Europe, but this time we are in the 50s.
In the 50s.
We are in 1955. We are
recent.
in Denmark, and we are seeing the film Ordet, which is Danish for The Word.
Shoot.
It is
you took my number 1.
Damn it, I'm sorry. It is the second to last film directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer, also of The Passion of Joan of Christ, one of the great films about religious belief. Based on a play by an author named, I'm going to mangle his first name, Kai Munk. And the film's solitary credit is Ordet by Kai Munk. So none of the actors, none of the directors, nobody. So it's not a film about God. It's not a film about Jesus. It's a film about who believes. Why do they believe? So it centers on a population of Christians in Denmark in the 19th century who suffer in some unimaginable ways in some cases. In other cases, don't really suffer much at all. There is the son of this family believes himself to be Jesus. So that's sort of an important metaphorical through line. There's also a pregnant woman who represents things, and I can't say what she represents without giving away some of the amazing things that happen in the back half of this movie. It is about how do people reconcile the fact that everything in the world is terrible with their conviction that God is love. And the movie answers that in a way that expresses why feeling God's love matters. And I don't want to spoil the ending.
Don't spoil it.
The movie is all about its last 2 scenes, and they're so good, and they're all about why people feel comfort and joy from religion. And that's kind of all I can say about it. But it's I mean, as someone who has not ever really been religious and has been officially an atheist for most of my life, it is the most touching, wonderful depiction to me of what strength people derive from their religious beliefs, why they derive it, and how people can make sense of a world where terrible things happen. Mm-hmm. Terrible things happen.
Does Pontius Pilate make an appearance?
Pontius Pilate beats the pregnant woman in the face with a shovel.
I knew it.
That's the entire thing. That.
Spoiler.
It's also just amazingly well made. It is a film, so it's based on a play, but it is a film full of these wonderful, sinuous camera movements that just sort of pull us through the characters and their lives and the space they live in. I love it. I'm doing a terrible job describing it because I can't talk about the most important plot developments, but it's really great if you like austere, serious-minded Scandinavian films about why we believe in God. You will not find a better one. And who doesn't love that? It's everyone's favorite. So
Excellent.
All right, close us out here, Karen.
Closing you out with something that you're going to expect. Guess what it is? What would be my number one religious movie?
I would have guessed Sister Act, to be honest.
Really?
Sister Act 2?
Sister Act 2?
So what if I'll give you a couple clues. What if I were to say
I don't know what you've seen.
Jehovah is spelled
Oh
with
my
an I?
God. Really?
Interesting choice.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's good.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Thanks. Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. Number 1, directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Jeffrey Boehm. I don't even need to describe this movie because it's all about religion. And
It totally is, actually.
Yeah.
Crusade is in the title.
Yeah.
Of this movie.
Crusade.
Templars. Knights Templar.
Templars. There's lots
Spoiler.
of Templars. There's lots of there's Grails. There's the cup that
there's
caught the
the
blood
Grail.
of Jesus
It's not just
Christ.
any old Grail.
There's the one. There's the cup that caught the blood of Jesus Christ. It's everywhere. Religion's everywhere in this movie, and that's why.
And
it's my
this
number one.
movie, let's not lean too heavily on the metaphor. It's about the Father and the Son,
also
by far.
and the Holy Ghost, of course, played by Denholm Elliott, as he
Who?
should be.
Wait, the Holy Ghost.
Marcus. He's not the actual Holy Ghost.
Marcus Aurelius. Wait, what? Who?
The Denholm Elliott, the wacky museum curator.
Marcus.
Marcus.
What do you mean? But what are you saying?
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
I
So
was
here's
saying
the thing.
so we have a Father, Son, we
You
need a Holy
cannot
Ghost. Here's the one I
be
picked.
sarcastic with me because I feel like I've missed something. Somebody told me that Life of Pi, the tiger, was God, and I was like, "What? How did I miss that?"
Well,
That wasn't sarcasm.
that wasn't sarcasm.
I know. So I'm saying I don't. What if Marcus Aurelius?
No.
What if Marcus?
That's what I'm saying.
Marcus Brody was?
We don't want to
God.
lean on the metaphor because I don't think it goes very far. But I mean, it is a film about the Father and the Son.
Is for sure. So
And-
it's Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. It's the story where his dad, played by Sean Connery, goes missing in the pursuit of the Holy Grail, and Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford, obviously has to go back and follow in his footsteps. In an amazing story.
And I know we talked
find
about
him.
this off the record, or not off the record.
It's my
but
number one movie of all
offline.
time, so it had to be here.
Yeah, but as far as Indiana Jones movies go, what's your alignment here, Karen?
Don't do this to me. Don't put me on the spot because I get a little testy.
So I'll tell you mine. It's
It's-
3-2-1-4 is for me.
It's 3-1-2-4.
I rank them chronologically. 1 is way the hell out in front.
No.
2 is slightly better than 3. Is slightly better than 4.
I call back to Last Crusade so much. The no
love
ticket.
it.
Speaking of, no ticket makes an appearance in Dogma when Kevin Smith's character throws someone off a train.
My
so many good
objection
lines.
to 1.
The meeting with
3.
the Hitler meeting.
What
There's
is
so
it?
much other
Interaction.
I find that the movie doesn't come to life until Sean Connery shows up.
Yeah.
And until then, it's just sort of like kind of grinding a little bit. The sequences in Venice are too hokey for me.
Speaking of grinding.
Yes.
No.
God, of course.
Never mind. Move along. Move
No,
along.
I totally got where you were coming from.
My mom's
That's
not
gross.
listening. My mom's not listening. So but every part of I actually liked the opening scene too, where he's the young Indiana.
Right.
I actually liked that scene. So that's played by River Phoenix too, right?
Yep.
So when he goes and he actually goes to his dad in that opening scene, that whole
that
thing
moment
I
is
loved.
necessary.
Yeah, I loved that whole part. And
I don't know that I needed him to get his whip, his scar, his hat, and his fear of snakes all in the same half-hour period.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I needed those all in that 30-minute period, but this was highly religious in their quest for the Holy Grail, and
It is literally about Indiana Jones regaining faith. Like, he
Agreed.
cannot proceed if he does not become a man of faith.
his dad does, and he doesn't, and it's him regaining that, and it is the best. To you, Rob.
Number 1 for me, again, more religious themed, but there are certainly some deeper religious moments, I would say. 2010's Book of Eli. Have you seen this, Tim?
I have seen this movie.
Care?
Never seen it.
Okay. IMDb gives it a 6.9, Rotten Tomatoes 48%, so not loved by critics. Directed by the Hughes brothers, brought us Menace to Society, Dead Presidents, and From Hell. Not, yeah.
Those are movies.
Those are some movies.
Some of them are not the worst comic book adaptation of all time, and some of them are.
Starring Denzel Washington, Mia Kunis, Gary Oldman, Ray Stevens, and Carrie. You in particular, I think, might like this because it is a post-apocalyptic tale shot with the colors that I like for those types of movies. A lot of browns, and Tim probably
Buried the
can,
Road.
You know, different colorization.
No.
I don't know how to describe
They're different hues of brown.
Different hues of brown. One's like
Lighter
a
brown.
turd brown. The other one's more like a shit brown. So it's just varying degrees. No,
Okay.
It's about a lone man fighting his way. So I think this takes place in like the 2040 or something. So something has happened. We assume maybe a
Trump
nuclear.
is president.
Trump is president. There's been a nuclear war. This could be scary coming. All the religion is no longer in existence, and Denzel has the way he speaks, the way he carries himself. He has something that may be able to unite people again, and he has the
Book of Eli.
He has the book, the good book.
Which book? Maybe it's that book.
Maybe
Okay.
not.
Okay.
But it becomes something that is of interest to bad guys to want to get played by Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman just great.
Always.
Just great in
So good
everything.
in that movie.
But it takes some interesting turns and some twists, and Mila Kunis kind of plays a little bit of a tag along that accompanies Denzel Washington on this journey to get the book to get this weapon, because I think they even describe it as a weapon,
Yes.
to the right place, and it makes you think a little bit about religion and the power that religion has, and the absence of religion and what that could do, and why you need the purposes of religion in some cases might be to unite people, to temper them down, to help them through some bad suffering, because there might be something better on the other end. So religion in the power of a good person versus religion in the power of bad, and what that could mean. And I think it does a really good job.
Is it available anywhere?
It's an action movie too, so that's what I really like it. It is streaming on Amazon right now for
I kinda wanna watch it.
$3.99. I think you would actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, the way you're
I think
describing
you would really
it
enjoy
sounds
it.
good.
That's it for me. Yeah, so
Those are our five.
I feel less embarrassed than I thought I would be.
I still feel incredibly uncomfortable.
Are you embarrassed by
yeah.
me? Okay.
No, not by you. No,
no.
not by. I felt more aligned with you, and Tim's picks just make me feel very.
Well, some of us are all in on sobering European depictions of the nature of God, and some of us are into Mad Max.
I want God
novels.
as an action hero.
I get that.
Yeah,
Here's the
that's
thing.
what I
None
want.
of us went with. So here's the thing. I thought you were going to do, Tim. So none of us went with the Ten Commandments, the
I
very
thought Ten Commandments would be
traditional.
somewhere on someone's list.
And I couldn't bring myself to go with those.
My readers know this. Bible epics, the 50s and 60s Bible epics, the Ten Commandments, Quo Vadis, The Robe, Greatest Story Ever Told, King of Kings. They are the most boring movies.
Oh, I know.
They're like 17 hours
Which is
long.
why I thought you would do it.
Nothing.
No.
I don't like boring movies because they're boring. I like boring movies because they're austere.
And French.
And French or Danish.
So
No, those I kind of like a couple of them. I kicked the wheels on King of Kings a little bit, which is Nicholas Ray's Life of Christ movie, but it's just like no.
Yeah.
Well, every episode we randomly select one member of our audience who shared their top movie picks of those submissions. And again, this was I would say a record submission list. Here are our audience's top 5 in reverse order. So at number 5, tied for number 5, Winter Light. Not familiar with that movie?
That is a Bergman film. So
Okay.
it's one of the films I specifically said, I can't do that. It is about a priest played by Gunnar something. Gunnar Bjornstrand, who is trying to comfort one of his parishioners. And the parishioner, this is a film from 1965, the parishioner, played by Max von Sydow, has this dysfunctionally intense fear of nuclear annihilation. So he doesn't want to end up in the Book of Eli. And the priest realizes that he cannot help this man. And he realizes that he cannot help this man because he himself no longer believes in God. And it's the process in real time, it's like shot in real time basically, of how a man of faith has to confront the reality, actually, no, God doesn't exist. That's unfortunate. And so it's very good, but it's not what I personally wanted to do with this list.
Next up for our audience list, Life of Brian made the cut.
I
it's
really
funny.
thought that was going to be on your top 5, Rob.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. It might have been mine.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh my God! Well,
I've
we
never
need to
seen it
correct
either.
that
Yeah.
shortly.
Spoiler
Very
episode.
embarrassing.
It has
could
Michael
be.
Palin playing Pontius Pilate, and he doesn't have a lisp. I take it back.
Carrie could find out who Pontius
He can't
Pilate
say
is.
his R's.
So embarrassed.
It is another Roman whose name I will not give away because it is a great gag who lisps. But Pontius Pilate cannot say his R's, so he is Pontius Pilate from Rome.
You have to put peanut butter on your tongue.
All
It's
right.
a thing. Yeah.
Well, no one told Michael Palin.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell
A
him.
movie I have seen, Saved, also made.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
And that's
haven't seen it.
I enjoyed it.
Did you see
as
Leap
well.
of Faith?
I've seen Leap of Faith.
That was my number 6.
Oh, okay, just
Yeah.
off the list.
Yeah.
We also had Ben-Hur on the audience's top 5.
Oh, audience.
Yeah,
I'm sad.
yeah.
Was it the Silent Ben-Hur or the crappy-ass 1959 film?
It is the 59.
It's a crappy movie.
We also
It is
had
7 days long, and one scene is good.
Perhaps some salvation for the audience. Prince of Egypt at the number 2.
I like that movie.
And then
it's a cartoon, you know.
It is a cartoon.
I'm a professional cartoon fancier.
And where does that rank? Is that high on the list of Disney?
It is my what?
It's Disney, right?
No.
Prince of Egypt wasn't Disney.
It is
Pixar.
DreamWorks. It is DreamWorks.
God,
It
I
is
just made that up.
conspicuously
God.
DreamWorks.
Definitely not
How
Pixar.
Because there was the whole thing where you had Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen form this company, and then they're like, we are not going to, whatever. And so their first movie is an adaptation of the Old Testament. So a whole bunch of religious right idiots were like, oh, the Jews made a movie about Moses. It is my favorite movie about Moses.
Interesting.
Flat out. No,
Okay.
not even a competition.
Yeah, I don't remember it very well.
Oh, it's good. It's got some really good songs, and it's got 2 really bad songs, but still, it's worth seeing.
Number 1 movie lining up a little bit with me is Dogma, which, Carrie, you said you haven't seen. Tim, you haven't actually.
I saw it in college, so
Okay.
some years ago.
70 years ago.
Many
Saw it.
in the 19th century when we still called it university.
And our lucky winner, we randomly select one winner, was Angie Santamaria. Thank you for submitting.
Angie Iozzo. She didn't change her name.
Okay, she hasn't changed her name?
No.
Okay, all right, Angie Iozzo.
That's cool.
Who
I wanna
submitted
keep her name.
Raising Helen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Raising Helen, I didn't realize it was religious, but it's about, I haven't seen it, a woman who, her sister and brother-in-law, I think, pass away, leaving her with a child named Helen that she has to raise. Helen. And it is a Gary Marshall, if I'm not mistaken. I think he directed it. It's best known to me as being, for many years, there's a Disney short called Lorenzo, which is about a cat who's dancing with his own tail. And it showed theatrically with Raising Helen, and for many, many, many years, that was the last time it ever screened before an audience, and then Disney finally released it on home video like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And Lorenzo's great. Raising Helen, I have never seen.
Angie, shoot us an email at contact@alternating.com for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like Angie, be on the lookout for our spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook or Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, just want to thank everybody for listening. Check us out on social media. We are very active. We were very active last week. We put in a lot of work.
There was a tweet.
Yeah, there was some tweets out there. Facebook page, go out there, like it, alternating.com. Check out all of our content and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google, wherever you find your podcast. And I think tuning in for our next episode, what do you guys say since Dogma was an audience favorite? Carrie, you haven't seen it. It's been a while for you, Tim. What if we explore that in a little bit more depth?
It's Easter weekend, and
right.
we here at Alternate Ending believe in giving the audience what you want, and what you want is Dogma. So,
all right, Dogma it is.
Dogma for our next spoiler alert episode.
We'll catch you next week.